Not bad. Big sound guitar for us.
Isn't it?
Laminated backs and sides. It's absolutely massive.
It's got a lot of projection.
Little woolly.
In the lower mids,
Yeah.
I hear.
I don't think things pop out like that one. Like especially when you've got open strings going on.
Yeah.
Like other fretted notes tend to get a little bit lost, but the power of it is really great. Hi everybody, welcome to the show.
Hi everyone.
Thanks for joining in.
How are you doing?
What are you doing today, mate?
Mate, today, it's an interesting topic about laminate versus a solid wood. And, obviously, all the artist series have got a solid top, right?
Yeah.
But they have a laminate
Backs and sides.
Where the masterworks are all solid.
Just putting these together, so we've got an AD60 versus an MD60. So they're both Sitka. That one's a better quality Sitka top. They've got the same bracing. They've both got mahogany backs and sides. That's all solid. This is laminate, so we'll get into that in a minute. I think we've mentioned this before, we're selling so many all solid guitars now because I think people are looking for that depth or complexity and all that sort of stuff. But I guess what we wanted to ask is all solid wood worth it? Is it worth paying that extra for? And actually, why is it so much more?
I mean, we're listening intently, aren't we? And with different kinds of ears. I'm listening and I'm watching the frequency response, and I'm discovering some things that maybe you hadn't really looked at before from a technical point of view, but there are immediate things that you hear straight away. We've got these two guitars, right? So we've both put sets of strings on, brand new
strings.
The same strings, same gauge and everything. Fresh today. Yeah. And we're playing them with the same microphones. It's a level playing field. There's no EQ going on. There's nothing. We're trying to do it as natural as we possibly can.
But I think the first thing we've got to say is there's great benefits to laminates, and you can make great guitars with laminate backs and sides. Solid top is really important because to get the energy you need to drive the strings and to create that frequency, you should have a solid top. You can still make good laminated top guitars as well, but really a solid top is what you need.
When we're talking about a laminate though, because I didn't really fully understand this until we had a discussion before about this, we're talking about three pieces of wood, right? This guitar, for example, is a mahogany laminate. So what's the process of that?
There's good laminates and there's not so good laminates, and there's terrible laminates. I think things have got better over the past few years, but there used to be some really terrible laminates in guitars.
Right.
Some people even call it like Formica or whatever, it's like that sort of almost like resin-based wood and a lot of glue in there. I think things have got better over the past few years as again, sound and quality and people looking for that. But some people, usually what you get is you get a white piece of wood. Sometimes it's hardwood, sometimes it's very cheap wood. Sometimes it could be, basswood, or it could be poplar, or it could be lime, it could be many things. And you would have a very thin, like a 0.4 mil or a 0.6 mil laminate on the top for aesthetics. And usually if you do it properly, you should also match that on the inside. So you've got the same laminate.
So top and bottom layer would be the same?
Would be the same.
Yeah.
And then you've got this middle mystery wood. Some people choose that wood and they source it well, and it might be a semi-hard wood, and some people probably have no idea what's in the middle of their laminates.
And would the vast majority of laminate guitars have that composition where there would be something in the middle which is just a bit cheaper?
It's a sandwich with two very thin pieces of bread and a thick filling.
Not a very tasty filling.
Not a very tasty filling. Some guitar companies do it differently, and what we do is we use really high quality laminates. I'm not just saying it for us, and we're not the only people who do it, but Artist Series is punching out of its weight. This guitar is $380. It sounds very, very powerful. It's very engaging. It hasn't got everything that has, no doubt.
Yeah.
But still, it's a great sounding guitar. That comes from two things. One, we designed the bracing so that the top works well. Yeah. And the secondly is we invest in really designed and well put together laminates so our sides and back are almost, not quite, behaving like a solid backs and sides.
But there's a reason for that.
There is a reason. So would you hold this?
I would.
So I can show you. So basically this is a solid piece of African mahogany that we call Kaya. It's something we use in everything. We love it. It looks nice. It's got a great sound. It's a very musical wood. These days it's become the African mahogany of the world. And there's sapele and other things, and obviously there's American or Central American mahogany as well. And then we have laminated mahogany. This is laminated mahogany, but it looks like mahogany, and Sam will show you this. So usually you would see some white wood in the middle of that.
Yeah.
Right? But that looks like a solid, these look like the same things. So what we do is we have mahogany on the inside, mahogany on the outside, and mahogany in the middle. So this behaves like, I'm not going to say it behaves the same as a solid piece of mahogany, because it doesn't. But it behaves far better than a piece of sandwich filling or filler in the middle of two pieces of very thin veneer. And if you use good glues, you know, that are low in emissions and they're good for the environment, and you don't whack too much in, and it behaves very well. We've been doing this for nearly 5 years. We didn't make a big song and dance about it.
But I have seen other manufacturers speaking about this. A couple of that I've seen. Yeah.
In an R&D, we, you know, because when we first tried to do this, it put the weight of the guitar up too high. So we had to go out and source really good quality materials for laminating, and we had our supplier build these for us.
Right.
So when you tap test, and I don't know how well that'll come through, it's musical.
There's a tone.
It's got a chime, and it's resonant, especially up in there. So that's very rare for laminates. So our backs and sides in mahogany is kind of nearly behaving like a solid wood. And that's why that guitar is so responsive and loud. It lacks sophistication, and it lacks some spread, and the trebles aren't as pronounced as other things, but it's loud, it's powerful, it feels good.
I think you only notice that when you A/B them, and we'll do that. We'll after this
we'll put them together.
We'll put them together, and it'd be nice for people to comment on exactly what they hear, because
I think what would be great is, because, and we've said this before, don't get confused with volume being a great sounding guitar, and I see it all the time, and it's a loud instrument with lots of bass, and people say, wow, that's amazing. But then you listen to it, can't really hear the trebles coming through. Or if you're fretting and you have like open notes going, so you've got some droning going on, they're just not coming through. There's too much woolliness and almost like too much middle going on everywhere. And it's just, you're losing the finer points. I was just going to test. So this is our, so you got some nice resonance going on there, and that's the laminated one.
It's a laminate.
This is all solid. They feel really different. You can this one has got more flex in it. This is harder, and you can sort of hear this one. Maybe we can do this on better mics. You can hear like
twice the volume.
I mean, you can almost feel the sound waves coming off that. And it's different. It's different because it's one piece of wood, it's solid, it behaves different, there's less dampening, and I think that's what you sort of get from laminates. That bonding, and especially if you use low quality sandwich filler, it dampens the response. So when it's called reflection, or deflection, but when the frequency's hitting the back or the sides, and it's coming back out the guitar, you know, if you imagine anything hits something very hard, and it comes back quick, and it comes back clearer. But if it hits something slightly softer, that piece that it hits will take some of the response, the reflection will be less. So there's some dampening going on because it's not solid wood.
But when the wood's all the same,
we just add more response and better reflection because we've invested in great quality laminates that are, one, they're well bound, they're all the same wood, so that's behaving more like a piece of mahogany. And you can hear it. I mean, we'll do the... Listen to that for a laminated guitar. But the trebles are dark, you know. They are. And it's like, when I was doing that thing on the thing, like when I was doing that boom, 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 you know, that just pulling those notes out, they just start getting a bit lost. Where on this, they come out a lot more clearer. It's just, the solidness, there's more complexity, there's more nuance, and there's more clarity to all solid wood. And it's just basically down to the quality of the reflection impacting the response. And it's just clearer, you know.
I don't think I actually gave that any. I wonder how many people really think about the Tonewood and the note that it produces. It produces an actual note.
Correct. You know, when you tap test a top or a back or whatever, it produces a note.
Yeah.
And usually what affects that note is how dense, hard the wood is. And that's what affects the tone of the guitar. You know, we all get kind of like wine tastery around it, but really it's just about the tree. And the trees are different.
They are.
And yes, we've got some control over bracing and manufacturing, all that sort of stuff. You know, back to that sort of cellular level type of thing of how that wood grows and why it is that dense or that hard.
Yeah.
That's the direct
and
impact.
Yesterday when we were holding up some pieces of Tonewood and we had a piece of acacia.
Yeah, so heavy.
So heavy. I mean, it was like these two identical size pieces of wood, same thickness.
Yeah.
And the weight was,
And that's why mahogany and rosewood are the king, because they're light, but rosewood's super hard, especially when you hold up a piece of acacia or something like that, and it just performs really, really lovely. It's a real music wood, and so is mahogany, because mahogany is so stable for its weight, its strength to weight ratio, nothing better. Laminated guitars, you can make them to sound good, and there's loads of benefits. They're more stable, they're great for traveling, hot places, cold places, humid places, dry places. They're going to handle that better, although the top may not. The cost, you know, you've got to take your time building all solid guitars.
they have to be seasoned, right?
Seasoning, perfect. So like, if you're a guitar factory and you're making a lot of guitars, you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of wood sitting there drying all the time. It's always there. Where laminated can come in out, it bends easy, it bends quick. Where solid wood, especially the real hardest stuff like rosewood, you've got to take your time bending that, because you know you can damage it really, really easily. You know, laminates look great. You've got a wide variety, so you can make like, you know, you can deliver like a line like Artist Elite, which has got lots of tropical sort of looking woods, really cost effectively, and they sound good. If you want spread, like tonal spread, tonal reach, if you want really responsive and clarity in your instrument, you have to go to an all solid guitar, and we'll show that in some videos in a second.
Yeah.
And those notes come out, it responds better. And the other thing is, when these are made, they're made. So this is going to sound like this forever. That's going to get better. There's so little stockpiling of wood left. Everybody's accelerating the processing of wood. And the time between it being a tree and a guitar sometimes is a year. You know, it could have been a tree for 100 years. Eventually it realizes the guitar, you know, it settles. Lots of things happen with all the sugars and volatiles and you know, all the saps and stuff inside, and lots of things happen on a cellular level, and they just settle, and vibration and frequency just travels through them better as they dry and become an instrument.
Yeah.
And they get better, you know. You listen to a pre-war Martin, that's what you know, the golden era, as everybody says, and they are amazing. And these are a little lighter as well. You want that lightness and strength because you want all that resonance, but you want it to be strong enough, obviously, to last, but also to get the response, and especially if you want a very quick response. Some guitars, I've said this before, they just feel a little slow somehow. But laminate's great. Other brands are doing a very good job, I think, with their laminates, and some are using a similar process to us, and some aren't. And just ask. If you're not going to buy our guitar, which is fine, but if you're going to buy a laminated guitar, ask what the laminates are, because it's really important.
The travelling aspect of it was something that I never considered until fairly recently. We've got humidifiers here to make sure that the guitars are kept at the right kind of humidity, because they have to be around about 50% or something, 50%.
Humidity is great.
21 degrees or something, that's kind of optimum, right?
Yeah.
But laminates don't react badly to changes in temperature.
Yeah, they're very well behaved. Okay, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll do some ABs and let us know what you think.
We will.
Adios.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.